I think that obviously some of the pieces coming back. I mean, the fact that they were able to get Blake Corum to come back for another year, that is huge because that will allow then the opportunity for receivers maybe to be a little bit more open if they also have to account for the run game being at that same kind of elite level that it was last year. The OL coming back. The amount of people that they were able, for all the crap that we give Michigan about NIL, and some of it's justified. Okay, I will say that. Not getting the 5-star talent we need to get. But I will say this. What they have done with the talent that they have, and putting them in those positions, I think it's been pretty impressive.
So what are your, if any, what are some concerns you may have going into this upcoming year or questions?
Well, like you said before, I think that the big question mark is how is the QB coaching going to differ? Kirk Campbell, how is his QB coaching style? Does he mesh well with JJ? And are they able to bring that comp percentage up to the 70s that really it should be for a quarterback of his talent level? I mean, he is one of our few 5-star players. So I think if we can get that up, I have no concerns with Corum and Edwards, none.
Right.
They're elite. The O-line, I have very few concerns because Sharon Moore has proven with 2 back-to-back Joe Moore awards that he knows what he's doing. The defense, I'd like to see what is Chris Partridge's actual title other than defensive staff.
Right.
Because we know, for those of you who don't know, Chris Partridge was officially announced to be coming back to the University of Michigan after 3 years with Ole Miss. And I think his primary reason why it's coming back is to recruit 5-star talent.
Is definitely needed. Look, we know that Jim has done and his staff has done a really good job of player development, right? Getting the most out of the kids he gets on campus. But to win at the highest level and to win consistently, you got to have the talent. You got to have at least a couple of those premier guys. Look, it's the reason why Michigan's not going to be the Georgia and Alabama in terms of recruiting on a normal basis. That's just not our forte. That's not what we're going to do. However, you do need to have a couple, right? You think about the better Michigan teams in recent memory. They have some of those difference makers, right? Now, last year's defense didn't have a ton of 5-star talent all over the place. I mean, I think Will Johnson, definitely was showing huge signs and making tremendous strides last year. I think he's going to be a big time player by the time his eligibility is over. But other than that, the year before, guys like Aiden Hutchinson, who was a 4-star, but still a pretty good ranked kid coming out of high school. Dax Hill, 5-star kid, safety coming out of high school. Is the reason why they were who they were. Right. Yeah. And they proved that at the collegiate level. So you do, to sustain this level of success, you do have to find a way to get some of those more talented kids with still doing a good job with your player development.
Absolutely. And some of you may remember these names: Devin Bush, Dax Hill, Rashawn Gary, Ojabo, Hawkins, Ruiz. These are some of the players that Chris Partridge helped bring in to the university. So I think that that's the primary reason he's coming back as defensive staff, because he's basically, I'm here to recruit 4- and 5-star talent guy. And they're going to find a position for him, of course. They may move people around like they've done before, because obviously there's already a linebackers coach. So we'll see exactly the position that they assign for him. But there may be a little Jim Harbaugh musical chairs going on again. So we'll see.
And particularly he had like that direct pipeline to that school. Was it Pampas in the New Jersey? That's where
Paramus Catholic.
Right. That's New where Jersey. Rashawn Gary, Jabril Peppers, all those kids. I think Ruiz came from there as well. That was a direct. He had a direct pipeline there. He coached there. I'm not sure if they still are bringing out high talent out of that school, but it would help definitely to continue to get there. And I can't stress enough the importance also of Jesse Minter coming back as well. It was heartbreaking for a brief moment when, we got seemingly a really good upper rising young defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, and he went right back to NFL. It was like, oh
Yep.
gosh,
Well, then
and
they get Jesse, who was
and
the
they get
other
Jesse.
potential pick. It was between the two of them for DC last time, and he picked
Right.
Mike McDonald, but Jesse Minter was the other choice. So now I think that was really beneficial for the players to run the same Raven style system 2 years
Same
in a row.
scheme. Same
Yeah.
scheme. Yeah. Uh, honestly, I think Jesse Minter was better than Mike McDonald in this regard. Outside of TCU,
Hmm.
his second half adjustments were
Yeah. Really good.
second to none.
Hmm.
Second to none. If there was anything that an opponent did well versus the Michigan defense, they figured it out, they nipped it in the bud, and they shut it down the second half. And it was incredible how much of a Jekyll and Hyde in terms of first half or second half that Michigan team was. Um, and Jesse Minter and his staff on the defensive side was a huge part of that. Not
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, and keep in mind, 2021, Mike McDonald had to paper over some issues with players like Aiden Hutchinson and Ojabo being on either side of your edge rush. He relied on a few star players, whereas I think that Jesse Minter created a more
committee. Yeah,
systematic committee-like approach. You had Morris, you had Michael Barrett. You had obviously late in the season, Will Johnson started breaking
Mason
off.
Graham.
Mason Graham, Iabioki had some pretty cool edge rushing plays there. So you look at the stat line, and I was on a show this past season, and we've literally every week reviewed the stats and stuff, and it was very committee like and just very, it seemed more systematic than McDonald for sure.